was some media coverage. It was on social media as well, so I'll mention that too.
Yeah, that was the only thing I had.
Okay. Perfect. You?
Nope.
All right, good morning. Looks like a relatively quiet weekend from the log here. There's a couple things I'll go over though. First of all, the aggravated assaults, and look like they're basically just the reports at this point. There was one arson, which was a vehicle fire near 11th and Spring. No suspects at this point, no arrests. They're still looking to review video from this incident and try to figure out exactly what happened on that one. Disorderly conducts were standard reports along with family offenses. There was a fraud that I'll talk about. This is kind of similar to some other incidents we've had recently involving a severe loss of money from a victim in town here. So initially, we received this report yesterday afternoon where the victim in this case had stated that she'd been chatting with someone via a messenger app on a gaming app actually that she was using. It started a couple months ago where the man claimed that he was offshore working and needed some assistance in getting a cell phone. So the victim in this case did send around $1,000 to this person via PayPal. About a month ago, she started getting some other suspicious things happening involving her email, like her email wasn't getting any emails or sending out anything anymore. So she talked to somebody with some IT folks, tried to get some help with that. At this point in the last couple of days though, she received a phone call from someone who claimed to be an FBI agent and had talked to her about protecting her money and that she needed to send her money to different accounts to try to secure the money so it wouldn't disappear. She completed a couple different wire transfers initially, two of them that totaled around $48,000. She also was instructed to withdraw $5,500 in cash and put it in a Bitcoin ATM in Sioux Falls here. On Thursday of last week, the victim received another call from the FBI agent and he told her to transfer money from her retirement account into a different account that she was given the information from this caller. At this point, the victim stated that she transferred $170,000 out of this account into the account that she was given from the person posing as an FBI agent. The total loss to the victim in this case is approximately $201,000. Should be noted that the victim was told by the caller who was posing as the FBI agent to not tell anybody about what was going on and try to keep this between them two alone. This is pretty common. We asked people to have conversations with family members or even people at the bank or anybody that can help out, friends. If they feel like they're part of a scam, it's important to have that conversation with somebody. This is what the scammers are trying to do, is try to prevent people from telling anybody. So at this point, she'd already given up a lot of money, and the scam continues to the point where she lost a large amount of money in that last transfer before she finally figured out that this was a scam. Any questions on that at all today? It's something we've talked about quite a bit. And then a week or so ago, we had Sergeant Jake Harris from the fraud section talking about our crypto ATMs and putting signage up there that hopefully will stop folks from sending money these ways and try to prevent this from being such a huge loss to people. For the rest of the log though, rapes and sex offenses were reports with no arrests. There was 7 stolen vehicles from over the weekend. Vandalism's nothing concentrated to one area. The weapons report on the log was shell casings that were located in a parking lot near Rock Creek and Cleveland Avenue. There's no reports of damage or injuries or suspects at this point. And this is not on the log, but I know there was some coverage about a missing man over the last day or so. I can report that he was located and is safe at this time. So, anything else today?
Yeah, I just had some general questions about missing people or a missing persons case. Nothing in specific towards that case, but
sure.
Just in general. So what does that really look like for you guys when you get a case like that, especially with an adult or something like that, where you do see a missing persons case or a missing person is reported to you guys?
Well, it depends on the circumstances a lot. If there's something involving somebody who's endangered, somebody who may have issues that are needing to be addressed, whether it's, not taking medication or something like that, where they leave behind something that may make it a suspicious situation, or it's just a situation where they're just up and missing, we have nothing to go on. We try to check out the local hospitals, local agencies and stuff like that, put out the name, try to get in touch with folks, just to make sure that somebody's not somewhere else that we just didn't know, or a family member didn't know where they're at. So this is kind of like along the lines of our missing endangered juveniles we put out too. We try to do social media posts if we get to a point that there's some concern that we need to get other folks involved looking for folks. So there are other options we have. That didn't get to the point of us putting any social media up. Some phone calls this morning were able to figure out that this was just he was located safe. So
yeah, and how does that really differ from the juvenile to, say, like an adult, like this case? How do those really differ?
Well, the juvenile obviously being young and not able to care for themselves, or at least some of them aren't. We're supposed to look at the ages. If I believe it's under 12, then it's a missing endangered juvenile. I'll have to do some checking on that. With the adults, it just depends on the circumstances of when they went missing. Is there a past history involving this kind of thing, of disappearing for a while? Some resources we do as far as calling family members and talking to other agencies to see if they can help us out, depending on where maybe somebody travels, or work history, where they're last time they're at their job, stuff like that, different circumstances.
And as far as like when that's reported, say like a family member reported that X person didn't come home from work, is that usually how these things begin or start?
Yeah, we don't really get a lot of missing people reports. I mean, a lot of it's juveniles or runaways, stuff like that. But as far as adult missing folks, we don't have a ton of those. So it's something that when we get the report, we work immediately. There's no delay into getting into checking resources and checking places to see where folks could be at.
I think that's all I had.
Anything else? All right, thanks. Have a good day.